Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Girlfriends Knitting. This is episode 26. I am officially been podcasting for half a year now, which seems crazy to me, but I love it. And my name is Carolyn. I also go by Caw, Shirley on Plurk and Ravelry. I don't have any finished objects this week. I have a mostly finished object, and I'll talk about him first. And then I'll tell you later why he's not completely finished. But I have been working on Basil, the Boogie Woogie Brontosaurus by Rebecca Danger. And I'm back in my office where the lighting is a little bit better than the conference room. Let me see if I can tilt it so you can see Basil a little bit better. I love this yarn. This is Spinning Fates. I won it as part of the December Knit Along with Knittables, Diane. And it's the Buddy the Elf colorway. And when I got it, I thought, I loved the yarn, I loved the feel of it, I loved the twist. But those colors just weren't for me at the time for a sock yarn. At least for socks. But I knew I wanted to use it. I knew something would come along and it would scream, that's the yarn. Here we go. Basil. Isn't he cute? Now, his little feet are done. His body is done. As you can tell, he doesn't have eyes or a face. The ends are hanging. He looks terrible with the little ends hanging down. And that's because I've ordered some safety eyes for him. And hopefully they will be in today. So he's not finished yet. But once I get the safety eyes, all I have to do is stuff the head, put on the mouth, and he will be done. My Boogie Woogie Brontosaurus. So there is Basil. I'm going to sit him here so he can watch us during the podcast. There we go. There's Basil. I use DPNs, and I have fallen in love lately with using DPNs. I don't know why that is suddenly the thing to do. And I realized that I like using 3 around and a 4th one to knit instead of the 4 around. And I know a lot of times Europeans will use 3 and North America typically uses the 4. I don't know, I just prefer the 3. I have very little hands, I don't know if you can tell. And the 3, it fits my hands better. So I am in love lately with projects with DPNs. And so I use size 1 DPNs for that because it was a sock yarn. So he's little. He's like 9 inches tall. Depending on the weight of yarn, the pattern tells you how big your little Basil is supposed to be. Oh, and I know I've got bright, crazy, glittery nail polish on today. I don't normally have nail polish on, but I've got bright, glittery on today. Love it. And if I sound crazier than usual today, it's because I have been ODing on the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcasts. And so Amy Beth is like somewhere in the back of my head, and I hear her voice. And that's just how I typically watch podcasts. I don't know how you do it, but the very first podcast I ever even heard about was The Knit Girls. 8 months, 9 months ago or so. Not that terribly long ago even. And I immediately went and watched all of their podcasts. They didn't have as many as they do now, but I watched all of them. Well, then they kept talking about Karen from Around the Twist. So off I went to watch Around the Twist, and I watched all of that. And it just kept spiraling. Like I would hear of a new one. If I really liked it, I went and watched all of that, all of them, all the back episodes. And usually in like these marathon watching sessions. Well, there have been several that I wanted to watch and hadn't had a chance yet, or I'd watched some of the latest episodes of and hadn't had a chance to just do my typical podcast marathon. But this past weekend, when things such as water polo were on, it's a lovely sport, it's just not for me. I would put on the Fat Squirrel Speaks. And so that was what I was ODing on. And so I just kind of hear that voice in the back of my head this week. it'll go away as I watch the Stockinette Zombies this afternoon. So more of works in progress. So that's the only almost finished object I have. Where to start? Oh, I do have some other finished objects. They're just not knitting. They're cute little project bags. So this one is kitty cats. And on the inside, I have my Gemini sweater. Now, I made this project bag. And I don't make them to sell or anything. Sewing is not really my love. I just can do it. But I realized I was running out of project bags, and I had material, and so I've really been spending way much more money than I should be. So I decided I will just make the project bags so I can buy yarn. And this one not only has a matching inside, but it is completely reversible. So like I said, I can sew. I just don't most of the time. So anyway, sitting in my project bag is the lovely Gemini sweater. And it has grown, not a whole lot because it is Stockinette and it's boring me. But it has grown. Y'all can probably tell that it's grown. I didn't put a little doohickey thing on it. But I had probably an inch below the arms last week. And now I've got closer to 4. So about that much. So there's Gemini. It's looking good. I'm very, very pleased with it. It's all wrinkly because it's been in the bag. So that's my first work in progress. There's not going to be a whole lot of changes on it until I get finished because it's just Stockinette until you're done. Well, till the bottom, and then you're done. So that's that one. I did make one more. And this is it, and it's like a Gemini project bag because it has one side on the front and a different on the back, and the inside is like that too. And it's not because I messed up and didn't put the fabric together correctly. No, that's not why I did that. It was intentional. We're going to go with it was intentional. Anyway, it's a littler bag, and it is absolutely perfect for socks. And that's what I'm ODing on socks. It's like I've gotten in these moods. So I'm actually working on DPNs on this sock. Usually my socks run a size 1. I just typically use size 1s lately. I'm not a small girl, but I have small hands and I have small feet. Maybe that's misproportioned. I don't know. I like it. But I like that I have small hands and small feet. So if I use a size 2 on 64 stitches around, it's too big for my foot. So I actually got to knit a medium in this pattern. This pattern is the Sunday Swing Socks. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I don't know who the designer is. I'm sorry. I'd have to look it up. I didn't write that down. I'm working off of very limited show notes today. But I love it. And this yarn, anybody recognize the yarn? Huh? Anybody recognize it? It is, excuse me, Zombie Barbecue. I don't know. I'm just into the paranormal. And so the name was why I bought the yarn. It actually reminds me of Christmas. So I'm thinking of them as my Christmas socks. Though I put them up on my pattern page as the Sunday Barbecue. Sunday Swing Socks, Zombie Barbecue. You get it. Anyway, love this yarn. It's Lorna's Laces, and I've been wanting to try this. This is the Soulmate sock that has the uber special yarn that says to keep your feet cool and wicked away. I don't know. Anyway, so it's Lorna's Laces Soulmate. That's the yarn itself. And my Sunday Barbecue socks. Oh, these are knit picks because I just love knit picks. Probably not the best idea for me with animals around to buy wooden needles. I like wooden needles. I prefer wooden needles. And I prefer really sharp points. And Knit Picks Harmony have really sharp points. like, here's a haya sharp. Not just a regular haya, but a haya sharp. So you see, very close to the same sharpness. And I love that. I love the sharp needles. And I just haven't yet bit the bullet and bought signatures. The hayas are good enough for me. But I broke 2 of my wooden needles. But then, I thought, hey, wood can be sanded. So, one of my handy dandy little is sanded. See the uber sharp one on this side? This side. Yeah, there we go. Mirroring on the camera. Okay? That's the one that is sanded. It worked. I know. I could send them back. I sanded it. There we go. My Sunday swing socks in my little doggy bag. I need to get me some of those tubes that you can put your DPN work in progress in. I just haven't ordered any. Because I have found that they are sharp enough that they poke through my project bags. And that may be true of pretty much any. I just particularly like sharp needles, and so they always poke through. So that's sock number 1. 2 more to go. Sock number 2 is a plain vanilla toe-up sock that I am knitting out of super cheap, but I think pretty. Love the rainbow clown barf colors. That's just my cup of tea. In super cheap heart and soul, red heart and soul. It has aloe. And it's not your typical red heart acrylic. This particular sock yarn is 70% superwash wool. Who knows what kind of wool, they don't tell you. And 30% nylon. So it's wool and nylon. So it is not it's not an acrylic. And there are some really nice acrylics out there right now. Red heart. Anyway, I'm not being a yarn snob. Spring stripe. You can be a yarn snob if you want to. I love you anyway. It was on sale, and I liked it. And so, in addition to the Deborah Norville colors, this happened to be one that I grabbed that I didn't realize wasn't Deborah Norville. But I go by the feel, and I don't like... I don't know. There's one that it has a feel to it. I've knit one pair of socks out of it, and I just didn't like the feel of it. I think maybe it was a rayon blend, and I didn't like knitting with it. This is a very scratchy wool. These are going to be awesome winter socks. I don't mind knitting with scratchy wool. I'd rather knit with scratchy wool other than cotton. Another reason I don't knit on my Gemini very much, because it's cotton. This is very nice cotton, but it's cotton. Just an up and coming. When knitting these socks, I realized that because they're very wintry, warm, woolly goodness, that I wanted to knit the entire sock out of one skein. So, what that normally means is you can get, for my size 6.5 feet, and a typical, 3 or 4 inch cuff, 1.5 socks out of a skein. So you have to get 2 to get a full pair of socks, which you want a full pair of socks, right? But you can knit like the anklets out of a single skein. Well, I decided I was going to use up all of the sock yarn of one skein on one sock. So they're going to be much longer cuffs. Well, that's going to involve doing some increases. I'm a math person. I love getting my math nerd on. And I realized that it's a slope issue. And it's a slope math problem. So I'm going to create here, maybe even later this afternoon, I'm not making promises though, a video-ish tutorial. When you see it, you'll understand why I call it video-ish. You won't see my face or my leg or foot or anything. But it will be video of the math calculation on how I'm going to go about calculating where I'm going to put the increases. I'm sure there are lots of great sock patterns out there that tell you how to do the increases. I'm sure there's great places out there that tell you how to do the increases. I'm going to show you some of the math. I know, it's my geeky self. If you're interested at all, check out the blog. It'll be posted up there. I'll post it on the Ravelry group when I post it up there. If that's so not your thing, that's okay. That's okay. It's my thing. So I'm going to post that up there because these are going to be longer than normal socks. Okay, that's sock number 2. Sock number 3 is a sock I promised that lovely woman who did the Racing Hearts cow. So let me stop and smile and say, remember the Racing Hearts cow? Everybody get out there and be knitting your Racing Hearts socks and be training for your American Heart Association race. But anyway, my friend Stacy designed the layout of our pattern for us. And so I said, I will knit you some socks. I picked out the pattern. Amy and Stacy both continually remind me as I'm untangling yarn that I picked out this Fair Isle sock pattern. Not her, me. So as I cuss it, that's what they remind me. It's beautiful. See how it's coming out? And so I'm thinking of it as violets for Stacy because they look like violets to me. And it's for Stacy. And it is the Fields of Flowers by Sarah Bordelon. I didn't get corrected on that, so please correct me if I'm saying that wrong. I do butcher names on a regular basis. And you can't see, maybe you can tell that I can't bend this. There is a piece of metal in here that Amy let me borrow from her cross-stitching stash. And, oops, yeah, it worked. A magnetic ruler. So I'm not going to show you the chart, but on the chart, I'm able to say, I'm right here. So, you know, if you have friends who are cross-stitchers, you can steal from them in order to work on your knitting charts. So there we are. I'm using the Cascade Heritage. Cascade, I'm saying that wrong, but you know what I mean. In a yellow. The light, pretty, buttery, lemony yellow. I'll go look it up. I don't remember. I bought it at the Loopy U. There you go. And along with it, the purple. I know, and I just have a tiny little bit of the yellow. Probably end up buying some more. Wool and nylon in bamboo and yew. And they didn't give it a color name. It's color 49372. Purple. Yellow and purple. So that's my third sock. So I knit on one until I'm sick of it, and I knit on another one until I'm sick of it. And I guess I've just kind of had cast-on-itis. I've been wanting to knit. I've had major knitting mojo. But I just have been getting bored. So that's what I've been working. Let's see, is that all of, yes, that's all of my FOs, all of my whips, and mail day. Okay, I can't show you any of this stuff because it's all at home and I'm recording here in my office. But there should be, when I get home, safety eyes for Mr. Basil. Toggles for my project bags. See, I need a toggle. I had to look this up because I did not know what they were called. I call them toggles. But they are called cord locks. There's some waiting for me at home. My Wolfe Farms order. Thank you, James and Dawn. I placed the biggest for me Wolfe Farms order. I have like 10 bars of soap waiting for me. I'm going to be so clean. It's just going to be ridiculous. I can't wait. I'm going to get home and just smell. I can't wait. And speaking of Dawn, she just cast on her Color Affection for our Color Affection shawl knit along. Remember, it's going all summer long. I have finished mine. There are people finishing every day. There was a gorgeous one posted recently that was pinks and black. Oh, lovely. And Dawn, I agree, gray on top. In case you're watching, gray on top. And the other male goodness that I have waiting for me at home, that sounded weird, but I didn't mean M-A-L-E, I meant M-A-I-L. You know what I mean. Okay, I bought a surprise for y'all. Well, for one of lucky y'all. I bought a surprise for the Color Affection knit-along that I'm not going to show off until September, when I go to give away the prizes. Y'all are going to love it. You will love it. Dawn inspired me. I'll give you that as a hint as to what it is I bought. And so anyway, I bought a prize for the Color Affection knit-along. Not that that will be the only prize, but I bought. And then, of course, that's the one knit-along that we're doing right now. The other one is the Racing Heart socks. I mentioned it a little while ago. And remember, the prizes for the Racing Hearts, Cal, are these wonderful bags by Ploverbird. And these skeletons glow in the dark, people. It still cracks me up every time I roll over and see them on my nightstand. So, that is what's going on there. I've got two other kind of off-topic things to talk about. First of all, a big thank you to Am I? Yes, I Am, Suzanne, who sent me folded. And you can't see it in the picture. It's a basic sort of stockinette sweater, and then right here, right below the bust line, it's right above. It's pleated. It's gorgeous. So I'd had it in my wish list, and she sent it to me because I was having a really bad week this last week. And I won't get into all the details. If you're on Plurt, you probably read about them. I'll just tell you that right after I recorded last week, I got some really, really bad news about my stats book. Before I recorded this week, I got the news that everything I had heard, though I had heard it from the actual company, they had rescinded, and it was all back to being good. That they had completely changed their mind and completely reversed direction from the bad direction back to the direction we had been heading in, and so that everything was good. But when I was in that place where they've been telling us everything was bad, Suzanne sent me that wonderful pattern, and lots of you on Plurt sent me love and good thoughts and great energy and your prayers for everything to reverse, and so it did. So no need to be worried. Everything is all good now. I just had some really bad moments. But anyway, that was big thank you. So that was so sweet. It really made my day. It made that whole situation a lot easier to bear. Then I feel like I'm talking just, I got the newest cast on, and I'm not going to do a review of it. I'm just going to show you a few things that I thought were awesome. So sort of the theme for this week was cables. This issue was cables. And so I'm going to show you some of the awesome cableness. So there was an advanced cable lesson. Look at that pillow. I've only knit one pillow, and it was actually because it was an accident, and somebody suggested that I turn the accident into a pillow, and I did, and it came out great. But that is just stunning. And I'm not usually a fan of cables, but I'm kind of starting to like them. That's just so pretty. Okay, so that's the first thing. And basically, it's just all cabley goodness. Here's another one, the hooded cable vest, Alice Tang. See, I could wear that. Big girls, small girls, medium girls. Now, I want you to take a look at the model, and I want you to notice what a beautiful woman this is. Lovely shape, right? Right? Okay, just keep that. Because I'm not one of these people that everything I show you is all wonderfulness. Now, same model. I think. She looks the same. I could be completely wrong. But I love the sweater. What I'm trying to show you is the sweater. And the sweater is stunning and so may have to be made, except it's purled. So I'm really hoping, I haven't read the pattern yet, I'm really hoping you can like knit it inside out. We'll have to think about this. So pretty. Okay. Now, I know this appears to be the same. Yes, this is definitely the same lady as the first one. I believe it's the same lady as the second one. That's not attractive. It's not her. It doesn't appear to be the pattern. I don't know. Maybe it's the combination of the pattern and this yarn. I don't find this attractive at all. It makes her boobs look like they're down at her waist. I don't get it. Maybe if there weren't as many cables, maybe you took out one of those cable sections and raised the straight lines up higher. I don't know. Because, like, you've just seen 2 pictures of this woman. She's not shaped like that. So, I don't know. Anyway. Lots of cables, lots of great patterns. The cabling on that sweater looks gorgeous. It was hard to see on the computer. But the cabling looks gorgeous. I just think that because the yarn's going one way and the cables are going the other, it just didn't work for me. But the main reason I decided to even show you this book, y'all are going to get so sick of me talking about the Racing Heart socks. Okay, so the Racing Heart socks is for the American Heart Association. That's what we are supporting and raising funds for and all that. And in the book review, they review Knit Red, which is stitching for women's heart health. So I just thought I would mention that there is that book out there. It is by Laura Zander. And I am not, I have no idea if it's a wonderful book or if it's a terrible book. I'm betting it's wonderful. They wrote a lovely review of it with lots of hearts in it. So they are recommending it. But I just definitely wanted to show you this in keeping with our American Heart Association theme. So that's the newest edition of Cast On, the August-October 12 issue. Yay! Oh, sorry, my ring hit my glass on my desk. Okay, exercise. I'm so proud of myself. I have been averaging running at least 5 minutes every time I run. See, now I'm calling it running, not walking. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so when I go to exercise at the gym, I have been in the gym, and I know I'm going to have to train out of doors at some point. But so far, I've still been in the gym. It's 107 degrees outside, people. I'm in Mississippi. I'm not going outside right now. The race is at the end of end of October. It'll be cooler. So, there will be outdoor training coming. But I usually run 5 minutes straight at least twice. I'll usually put in another 2-minute run somewhere. Last Wednesday, after I recorded when I went, I ran 8 minutes straight. So proud of myself. I was just stunned. But I have an old ankle injury. Sounds like old football injury. No, it's from a car wreck, long time ago. But basically, anytime I do too much high impact exercising, my ankle hurts like crazy. And so it is hurting like crazy right now. So I'm going to go work out today. I worked out Monday, and I'm finding I'm kind of getting in a routine of heavy workout on Monday, not as much on Tuesday, heavy workout on Wednesday, not as much on Thursday. And right now I've only been getting in 2 workouts a week, and I've got to get that changed. So hopefully it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at least once on the weekend. Then that would be 4 days a week. And for me, at the moment, that's good. I'll eventually get that up to more, but right now I think that's great. So anyway, I'm headed to the gym this afternoon. But because my ankle is killing me, did I mention that it's killing me? See, Amy Beth. I'm probably just going to walk. I'm probably not even going to attempt to run because makes it hurt worse. But, people, you have to identify your own motivation, because I have identified my motivation. Laziness. I know! Who would have thought that laziness could be your exercising motivation? I didn't, but it is. Okay, let me explain, because it makes no sense as the books fall. Okay, I don't want to be at the gym more than 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I'm ready to go home. But if I'm going to run a 5K, and I do have every intention of running the whole thing, that's what I'm training for. I'm training to run the whole thing. You got to go further than 1.5 miles. And so far, all I had been able to get in 30 minutes walking was 1.5 miles. Well, math. How do you get more distance in a shorter amount of time? You go faster. So I run. When I run, I get longer distances in the same 30 minutes. If I don't run, I don't. So now I can get 2 miles in 40 minutes. And I'm figuring out that if I just keep running faster, I'll be able to do the whole thing in 30 minutes. Laziness as motivation, people. There you go. It's what's working for me. I'm sitting there and I'm exhausted and I'm walking. And then I go, if I sped up, I could go home faster. That's what I do. It might work for you. I also was told by one of my friends that maybe the cheeseburgers at lunch wasn't the best idea. But they're good. So, gotta cut out my cheeseburgers. Another thing on the exercise front is audiobooks. And we've talked about this in the exercise thread some. I love audiobooks. I'm not a music person. I like music, but it's not my cup of tea. If I am choosing what to listen to, I'm not going to pick music. If other people have music on, that's okay. So I'm way into audiobooks. But I've figured out that you have to have certain genres. So it has to be light and fluffy. And I really like paranormal stuff. That's just one of my things. So the vampires and zombies and all of that. And Molly Harper is an author who writes paranormal fluff, is what I'll call it. Not that it's not great writing. It's my idea of fluff. It's fun. And so some of the books, and I got it pulled up here, what I listen to. Nice Girls Don't Live Forever. Nice Girls Don't Date Dead Men. Molly Harper. I highly recommend. And it's read by Amanda Ronconi, and she's great. So if you are into audiobooks, I highly recommend first Audible. Check out Audible if you don't already have that checked out. Website where you can get audiobooks downloaded. And check out Molly Harper if you're into any of that paranormal stuff. If you're not into the paranormal, Audible has all kind of other audiobooks if audiobooks are your thing. So I'm going to end today's podcast, which is way long because I rambled on and on and on and on about the laziness as motivation. Let us end today with our countdown. 10 weeks, 2 days, 19 hours, 14 minutes, 20 seconds. Have a good week.